Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, podcast comes out every Wednesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere you get your podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Quest to 100 subscribers is still on. Thanks for all the subscribers this week. And make sure you hit the like button on this video as well as all our other videos. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Big Red Zone. And tell a friend. It helps us so much, and it keeps the podcast growing. This is the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I am joined by Danny Football from a new location.
New angle just dropped.
New angle just dropped. And producer John, no angle, and producer John.
I just wanted to be like John and almost not have video today.
You did have video at the beginning, and then
we stopped the first Zoom call, and then my computer's like, yeah, I'm good.
Well, I'm glad I get to see your beautiful face from a different angle. I didn't even know you had a wall over there, Danny.
Yeah, dude, I got 4 walls in this room. That's crazy.
I thought you only had 3 walls.
3 walls. You're getting.
Actually,
I don't know if I would call this my good side. I think my right side's my good side.
You should just turn with your face, like just look like that the whole time.
Oh, what's going on?
What?
He's gonna be freezing throughout the show.
Yeah, this is gonna be choppy.
That's okay. Well, crazy week this week. We got a lot going on this show. We got obviously the conference finals with the NFC and the AFC. Great games. Probably the best game of the year in the Bucs-Packers game. We're also going to talk about a little NBA. We'll talk a little UFC. Bad day to be an Irish, as Danny Football says. And we'll also talk about the Red Sox. Finally, some action going on. Not exactly the action I wanted, but
breaking through that interest zone.
We're breaking through the interest zone. So without further ado, we're going to get into our first segment. As always, weekend recap.
Weekend recap.
So for weekend recap, let's start with the AFC game because that was probably the
disappointing game.
More disappointing game of the two. KC beats the Bills. Man, I wish it was closer. It wasn't that great of a game. Some high points in that game, but all in all, it was kind of a letdown.
You said it best, man. The Bills just aren't there yet, man. They're just not.
Yeah,
they're a good AFC team, but they're not in that upper echelon just yet. They're still rung below.
Now, I think we saw some holes on this team. Obviously, the passing game, really good. Like Josh Allen, 287 yards and 2 touchdowns. Everyone kind of spread the ball out. Beasley had 88 with 7 receptions. Diggs had 77 with 6 receptions. Even the Dawson Knox got in the action with 42 and a touchdown. So it's pretty balanced. The problem with this team is, and I said it as we've gone on through the playoffs, you know who had the most rushing yards for the Buffalo Bills?
White Lightning with 88.
He had 80. Their quarterback had 88 yards. Their next running back had 17.
No rushing, dude.
Yeah,
no running game.
Running backs ran for under 9. Part of that is being down. I get it. But they only had 9 rushing attempts and just over 30 yards. Like, that's terrible.
They tried to get into a shootout with a gunslinger, dude, and it did not work out for them.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it, like I said, when you're losing, you kind of got to throw it a little bit.
Right, but they were up 9-0 in the first quarter.
Right, so they need to kind of run the ball a little more. They need to go out and get a running back, whether it's through the draft. I mean, I don't think Singletary's it. They just drafted a running back. I think they need to go out and get a free agent running back or try to maybe draft someone else and then they find their guy, because I don't think either of those guys that they have is.
It really is their missing piece.
It is on the offensive side. I mean, you could say their tight end. They could use another tight end.
True.
Dawson Knox isn't great, but at least, I mean, he showed up in the game. He got a touchdown in 40-something yards. Like, that's like pretty good for a tight end. The running game is really it. They're like, we were talking about it before. They're a great team. They're just not there yet. They're not ready to go on a championship run.
And then you look at the other side, Darrell Williams, 13 carries, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Not, an explosive stat line, but still that's, a solid outing from your running back.
Right. And obviously Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been banged up, but he's their guy, and they got their backup, Darrell Williams, who was really the starter this week. He comes in and fills the job. So when you're getting your backup 52 yards and a touchdown and 13 carries, which is kind of the big stat is carries wise, it's you gotta be able to say, all right, we can hand off the ball and not put all the pressure on our quarterback in our passing game. With that being said, Patrick Mahomes was pretty much flawless in that game. He was did 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. Come on. He is the real
There is no
deal.
stopping him, man. He's still on a whole nother level than everyone else.
The other thing is looking at the passing numbers. Tyreek Hill 9 receptions, 172 yards, no touchdowns, but 172 yards.
He always makes the most, man.
Travis Kelce 13 receptions, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's their offense. That's it. Those 2 guys.
It's really all you need.
Can you stop them? I don't know. And that's going to be the Bucs' big test is they got to find a way to contain, because you're not going to stop them, but you got to find a way to contain Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You take them out of the game, it's like the
Bill Belichick strategy. If you try to take the stars out and then have them beat you with role guys.
Right. And some of their role guys weren't even playing this week. Sammy Watkins is banged up. The Saints are banged up. They just gotta their studs are just playing out of their mind. When you have 2 players putting over 300 yards, almost 300 yards. Is it 300 yards? Bad at math. No.
290.
290 yards between 2 players and over 20 receptions between 2 players and 2 touchdowns. That's unreal. That's Madden numbers. That's pretty crazy. And Patrick Mahomes is just special. He's just finding guys left and right. No picks too, I might add.
Not often you're not gonna lose that game many times with that kind of stat line, dude.
No. Something to check out too is I've noticed throughout this season of playing when teams play the
Chiefs,
it's the first quarter they're usually losing the Chiefs, and then in the second quarter they put out 21 points. If you look back, I'd have to look back. I haven't really looked, but
the Titans and Texans led them.
Yeah, it's they start slow.
And the Patriots in the 2018 AFC Championship game, we held them to a goose egg in the first half.
Right, and even the Super Bowl last year. If you look back at the Super Bowl last year, they came back in that game. So it's they got to just whoever plays them has got to weather the storm in the second quarter because you're gonna you'll start off hot.
Or you got to keep the foot on the pedal, man. You got to keep the foot on the neck. You got to be
saying defensively. You need to weather the storm because they're going to make a run in the second quarter. So
it's almost as if the Chiefs use the first quarter to see the defensive looks, and then in the second quarter counter them.
I don't even know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I don't think they're that smart. I don't think.
Wow.
No, they're smart. They're smart.
Andy Reid, you hear that?
I like Andy Reid. A lot of people don't like him. I don't have.
I'll never root against Andy Reid.
I'll never root for him, but I'll never root against him. That makes sense. No, I don't really have a problem with Andy Reid. I like him a lot better than the guy on the other sideline during the Super Bowl.
Oof.
Coaching, not Tommy.
Do we want to go into that?
Yeah, let's get into the other game because this was the best. That game was terrible. I think we can both.
This was the main event, dude.
This was probably the best game of the year so far. Bucs beat the Packers, and it was a true Brady versus Rodgers How do you say it?
Battle Royale.
Tom Brady was near perfect in the first quarter, first half, excuse me. At 21 points, 3 touchdowns, no picks. It was near perfect Tom Brady. It was they were writing the Packers obituary. And Aaron Rodgers played pretty well in the first half. The scoreboard didn't say it. There was a lot of bad drops. it was bad drops on both sides too. But I mean, the Patriot, the screen's pretty scary. I just looked at Danny Football's face. It's scared, like it's frozen on him, like just making a creepy smile at me.
Damn.
It's like kind of scaring me a little bit. But there was a lot of bad drops on both sides. Like Tom and Aaron were like
It's that
slinging it in
cold.
there, and there was
It's
like
that cold, frozen
big
tundra weather,
drops.
dude. All their hands are just getting numb.
But it was like Tom had a kind of a rough second half, but because he had 3 picks in the second half. But I can't put all of them on him. Like they were dropped. Mike Evans dropped it, and it tipped into someone else's hands, or like you know what I mean. It was like, or the guy didn't run the full route.
It was pretty much like vintage interceptions from last year. Like people forget how many picks last year were not on Tom.
Right. It was
like through hands, off a guy's hands, off a shoulder.
Out of the 3, I'd probably say like 1, maybe 2 were on Tom. 1 was definitely not in him. The other one I could say like it's 50-50 split because the guy maybe didn't run the route the right way or his miscommunication. Tom thought he was going to keep going. And the other one was kind of on him. But, I mean, that's like Mike Evans has got to go up and get those. Like he's the number 1 receiver on that team. He's got to go get that. But other than that, man, like it was tough. It was like great battle on both sides. The thing I think we both want to talk about some big key moments in the game towards the end. Number 1, Packers. Well, let's start here. Packers go for 2, dropped in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. I think we all contribute on the Twitter account. By the way, if you don't follow us, go follow us at Big Red Zone. But our own producer John tweeted out. I believe it's producer John.
What'd I do?
During the game, one of your tweets you sent out was that 2-point conversion is going to come back to haunt him. Was that you?
Yeah.
It did. Like that was a big game changer in the game. Like,
what can I say? I know football.
You know football, man. Like I trust you. That was a big difference maker. I think that they go for 2 there. They're more apt to, it's a touchdown to tie it instead of needing a 2-point conversion. I think a lot of things are different. The momentum's more on your side. I think that was number 1. And then when you got closer to the end of the game, Danny Football, it was just like, it just got slot. Like it was terrible. Like first of all, Rodgers not running it in for a touchdown or running a period.
That was a soft move, man.
Like
was soft.
Like, I don't know if he would have got in. Like that was pretty.
He would have made it a hell of a lot closer, though.
He would have made it probably on the 2. I would say. I
think that at least changes their mindset of going for it on 4th and
right.
goal.
Like you look like an idiot if you don't go for it
Well, I don't know if you saw the post-game interview, but apparently Rodgers didn't know that the plan was to kick the field goal if they didn't score there.
Oh, really?
So the plan, I haven't seen the entire interview. I just heard like transcripts and everything like that. Apparently he didn't know that the go-to was the field goal. Had he known he had to get closer for the 4th and goal, he would have ran it. He said he would have, if he knew this was going to be his last shot, he would have gone for it. So he thought he was going to have another go at it.
Yeah, but I still don't get why you wouldn't try to get closer. Maybe give yourself room for the receivers to run routes.
Maybe I don't know. I don't.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so he thought he was going to get another shot at it, and then Matt LaFleur just said, "No, we're done."
That's the softest move.
Yeah,
that's even softer than not running it in. Like,
right.
You're down 8.
Regardless of whether you think you're going to get another chance or not, you should be trying to maximize the amount of yards you can get.
Right. And also, the other thing is, you kick a field goal, you still need a touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go for it and you miss it, you still need a touchdown.
Right.
Nothing changes. So you might as well put Tampa on their 8 and make them, like, they would play so much more conservative if they're on their 8.
Or even if you run it on 3rd, you like you said, get to the 2, don't make it on 4th and goal. You're on the 1 or the 2. You're right there. And
Tampa's not going to be throwing it. Like, Tom's going to play very conservative. They're going to hand it off to Leonard Fournette like probably two times.
Fournette.
What? Yeah. Leonard Fournette had a big day, huh? 50 yards. Good job, Leonard. I liked Leonard Fournette. I don't know why everyone like that wasn't the point of that argument, but that's a rabbit hole that I don't want to get into with those TikTok fans out
Oh, I'll
there.
get into it. Hold on, let me pull them up.
But I like even so, 4th and goal at the 8. You're still you have them pinned back. It's like it's a no brainer. I don't get it. And then the idiot kick returner from Tampa slides down, another soft coward move, and gives them another timeout, like with 2 seconds left before the 2-minute warning. That was like ridiculous.
A lot of Matt LaFleur outcoached himself, man. He really just outthought himself.
He did. He outthought himself. The one thing I will say was like a good coaching move was taking the penalty, like going offside when, like right out of the 2-minute warning, they were like 2nd and 1. They just did an offside penalty to give it. I was saying, like, I think even Troy Aikman said it, like, why not decline that penalty? Do you think Bill would have declined that?
Probably. Bill always knows like the ins and outs of everything. I'm convinced Bill just has like a running math equation in his brain that's like to the decimal point, which is more beneficial for me.
He also knows the rule book inside and out, and I'm convinced he goes through like, all right, what's a loophole here that will help me get by. But even so, they decline it, whatever. And then the big one was the pass interference call. Like, was it pass interference? I think people missed the argument. Like, was it pass interference? I think so. He was grabbing the jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I hate when people harp on calls as like deciding factors. Like, there were so many other things that happened heading down the stretch that you guys shot yourself in the foot. Like, let's not blame a PI call for your loss. Like, there were plenty of other things that happened.
It was definitely not the reason, but I hate when refs get involved at the end of games.
Right.
Like, you weren't calling. If you're calling that all game, then like, yeah, like you obviously got to call it. But they didn't call anything all game.
It's typical playoff. And it happens in every sport. Playoff games. The refs feel the need to get involved. They get kind of skittish on the whistle. So I mean, they get nervous down the stretch. They don't want to miss anything, so they call everything.
Right. And like you can't do that when you don't call anything the entire game, and then all of a sudden now you start throwing the flag. And that was a late flag.
Yeah.
They threw it like 2 minutes later. Like that was like
a typical, like, that's like LeBron getting hacked and then he complains halfway down the court. And then the ref's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It was brutal. And now, am I happy that Tom Brady won and is going to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Like I am happy he won and he's going to the Super Bowl. I just didn't want him to win like that. Like I didn't want it. I wanted the game to end on him like completing a pass for a first down, and then they slide down.
So I got to kind of put you on the spot here, man, because I know all season you didn't believe in this team. Do you believe in this team now?
It's hard not to. Like, here's the thing. Like, I believed in Tom. I didn't believe in the Bucs. Like, I didn't believe in the defense. The defense was trash. We said it 3 weeks ago against Heineke. Lit them up. Like we were saying it against the Washington football team. Like, this defense was awful. And the last few weeks, they've arguably played better than the offense the last 2 weeks. Like, arguably, they shut down Aaron
It usually comes down to whose defense heats up at the end. Right.
So it's like a goaltender in hockey. Like, whoever has the hottest defense going into the final stretch is probably going to win.
Absolutely.
Like, the Bucs are convincing, and they did that without Antonio Brown and one of their cornerbacks. I forget who it was, but they did it without a key player on both sides of the football. I believe in Tom. I'm like I said, I've said it the last few years until he proves me otherwise. Like, he's the best player ever. I wasn't rooting for him, but I'm not going to root against him because let me see if I can find it. Like, our friend Sheesh one blank comment who said on TikTok, Redhead definitely is biased and is not an NFL fan, just a team fan. That is correct. I am 100% a Patriot fan over anyone else. So as much as I love Tom Brady and everything he did for us, I'm not going to just
trade
You
in
don't have
my
a dog in the fight in this
right,
one, right?
but I'm not gonna trade in my Patriots jersey for a Bucks jersey just because Tom
Right.
went there. And then I'm gonna
I'll
preface
root for him though. I'm rooting for him in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it's okay to root for him, but I'm not gonna freaking jump on the Tampa Bay bandwagon and be like, "Hey guys, remember those Josh Freeman years? That was crazy."
Yeah.
And then for Daniel Gillespie 03, who said you guys don't know football, I'm gonna double down and say someone else comments that this week. So,
You think someone else is going to say that?
oh,
Again?
they play
say it every week.
John. If future producer John wants to rip that audio from last week and toss it in here when I predict that someone's gonna say it, I mean, someone's gonna say it again.
They always say
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like guessing that there's gonna be oxygen tomorrow.
God damn.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
You
bet.
guys don't know football. They definitely shouldn't have gone for it on 4th and goal. Okay.
Thanks for listening, by the way.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for following on TikTok.
Joke's on you. We just like the views. I don't care. Joke's on you. I'm rooting for him though. I think I'm.
Oh, I'll take him over the Chiefs. I'll take him over the Chiefs. I definitely don't want Pat Mahomes winning again.
Isn't it crazy? 10 Super Bowls. Like how nuts is that?
That's mind numbing, man.
That's Madden numbers.
That's
like,
crazy. That's crazy to think about.
He went. I did the math out because I was curious. He's been to over 18% of Super Bowls, like in all time. It's like just under 19, so little under 20% of all Super Bowls ever played. Tom Brady's played in them.
Damn,
That's
could have been
nuts.
more too.
What?
Could have been more.
Could have been more, and maybe even more. Like he could easily.
Yeah, he still has time. Yeah, he still has time.
He's definitely going to play next year, and who knows what happens the year after that. Like if he's still playing at like a level that he thinks he can play, I think Tom's proven that he'll keep playing. So, just to be clear, in my belief, I did not believe in the Bucks. Because of their defense and their coaching. I do believe in Tom Brady, and Tom Brady just breathes like confidence. Like your defense has confidence. You play looser with him on. Your offense plays looser. So, I mean, he's unbelievable. Like I'm happy. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy that he gets to go hopefully win another ring. But I also don't like the fact that people are now saying, like, see, it was all Tom and not Bill. Like, that's kind of outrageous. Like, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, it's both of them. Like, they were both responsible.
I don't even want to really get into it with those kind of people, man.
Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. That's what I would say is, like, the only negative about Tom winning the Super Bowl is now we're going to have all these trolls, like, what's his name? Skip Bayless saying that Tom's the reason he tweeted out the most overrated people in NFL, the NFL world is Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick. Shut up, Skip. Like that's ridiculous. Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time.
I try not to put energy towards those kind of people anymore.
Oh, I do.
I haven't listened to Felger and Maz in probably 2 years at this point, so I just leave it alone.
There's a lot of Felger Maz fans out there.
I leave it alone, man. I can't do it. I have enough negativity in my life. I can't deal with that.
Well, we got a week off from football. Usually the Pro Bowl would be going on right now. I don't think are they playing the Pro Bowl?
No.
I don't think they're playing it. But we have a week off, and then we'll get ready for the Super Bowl. With that said, I think it's time to get into our first week of NBA picks of the week. Picks of the week. So, because we were terrible at picks of the week during the NFL season, we are resetting the clock. We
finished closer than I thought. I thought it was really far behind.
Yeah, I mean, we were just off the last few weeks with the NFL season. I count the regular season because I had a winning record. I don't count the last 2 weeks. But starting over, 0-0.
NBA,
turn a new
basketball.
leaf in the NBA. Who do you got?
So for a caveat, we're choosing Wednesday games because if you don't know, Big Red Zone episodes come out every Wednesday. Boom.
Where can you find them?
On Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
I love it.
Rate, review, leave a comment. I'm going to go Celtics over Spurs. We're historically bad against San Antonio. It's in San Antonio. But like you're going to hear later on, we're healthy. We got all of our guys back. And I'm feeling good about this team, man. I'm feeling good about this team and where we're going to be at soon. And Celtics over Spurs, baby. Let's get this rolling.
And JT comes back too.
Mm-hmm.
Comes back tonight, actually, Monday. I'm going with two teams I hate.
But that means you're guaranteed a loser.
I'm guaranteed a loser. Lakers and 76ers. I'm going the Lakers over to 76ers. The 76ers are hot. Joel Embiid looks great. 76ers look good. But the Lakers team, I think, is just stacked. They I think, lost a close one recently. But I think the Lakers are going to win this one if everyone's healthy. And Lakers over 76ers. That is our picks of the week. And now it's time for a segment that we started a couple weeks ago, and we're back because we got some news. It's time for Watson Watch. Cue the horn, John. All right, so since the last time we had a little Watson Watch, we've had two teams come into the fray. And it's all the teams that we saw coming. It is the dumpster fire known as the Jets. And what we kind of predicted earlier, we heard earlier, is the Dolphins.
There are three teams in the AFC East that need or could use a quarterback of his caliber, and two of them are not the Patriots, and it's both those teams.
I don't understand why anyone would want to go to the Jets. Can we just get this out of the way? Like, I understand the Dolphins. You got Brian Flores, who has been proven to be a great coach. You got a good defense. You got a good young core. They probably just need a quarterback, plus like a couple weapons on offense that they can get through the draft and free agency. Like, this team is close to popping.
I get
they
that
won
they have
10 games.
but bringing in Watson kind of like accelerates the process.
Right. But I don't get the Jets.
The Jets is insane, man. I mean, I have the next bullet point is this dude is addicted to losing. I don't know, man. Like, he hasn't accomplished as much as he should in Houston to this point. He signs that extension. He has a horrible season. And now instead of saying, I want to go somewhere where I can win now or have the potential to win more, you're going to go to some... Dude, like, that's a lateral move. Texans to Jets is a lateral move. There's no growth there. That team still sucks. They don't have weapons. They arguably may have worse weapons than the Texans do right now. I don't know why he would ever want to go there, dude.
I don't get the Jets. I really don't. And I don't get where the Jets... I mean, I kind of get it because you're getting a franchise quarterback, which is probably what you use your first pick on anyway. But...
I mean, it's the Jets. They signed Le'Veon Bell and then fired the two guys that wanted him.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, I just don't get why he wants to go to this dumpster fire that hasn't won in, like, years. It's, like, frustrating. It really is. It's maddening. But with that said, what do you think is the price tag for him? Like, what do you think will be the deciding factor? Like, let's go through the... Like, let's add the Patriots into the mix because we have to. Starting with the Dolphins, what do you think the price tag would be?
So my thought process is I'm going off of what DeAndre Hopkins and a
6th-round pick,
right? So I'm trying to figure out more like if a premier wide receiver goes for a second round or should go for a first round. If those guys are going for first and seconds, I would imagine Watson can at least get you at least a first round pick. And that's just
more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's more to it, but if you're talking draft picks, a first round pick has to be in there.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they're sending, we'll give you 2 seconds, a third, and like a fourth in a couple of years. No. It needs to be there need to be first round picks in here somewhere.
Now, I think the Dolphins have a little bit of a leg up because they can trade him Tua. Like, Tua, they don't need to waste
a crap ton of picks, don't they?
They also have a ton of picks, but that kind of saves them from drafting a quarterback.
Right.
This guy's already a top quarterback in the draft. So, and he's got playing experience.
Right,
too.
and if you're attaching Tua, that might eat a first
second
round pick.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, so I'm thinking Tua, maybe a first, and then like some other pick or a player. The Jets are going to have to give up probably their first round, their high first round pick, and maybe, I don't know, a wide receiver, or maybe like a couple firsts and like a fourth, something like that. And I think the Patriots are going to be close. Here's the thing. There's trouble in paradise with Stephon Gilmore.
I was just about to say.
So I'm thinking we could package Gilmore. I don't want this to happen because I love Gilmore, and that kind of hurts our defense. But he didn't play for most of this year anyway. Maybe you package Gilmore in a first, and then you get Watson. I was going to say maybe trigger
Gilmore first and maybe like a third. I think we have multiple third-round picks.
Yeah. I think we got a couple thirds for like Tom leaving and stuff like that. So
I mean, you get a former defensive player of the year, a first round pick, and a third round pick. I mean,
I would take it. Yeah, I would take that if I'm the Patriots.
We have Nick Caserio there.
Yeah, I feel like we could pull off a deal. But I mean, the Patriots do have options now. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. Maybe if Deshaun Watson doesn't want to come here, all right, have fun in New York. Let's maybe get Matty Stafford. Aaron Rodgers said his future is.
There are options out there. It's not like Deshaun Watson's going to be the head of any free agency class because he signed a 4-year extension. So it's not like he's going to set the market.
Yeah. I would say, though, if you're not talking Aaron Rodgers, he's the best available. So, like, if you can get him, I'm definitely on the get Deshaun Watson bandwagon.
Right. But if him or the Texans are asking for a king's ransom, the teams could be like, well, I can just go get Matt Stafford for a quarter of that price.
Right. So, and our secret weapon, Matt Patricia, is going to help us.
Yeah, Matty P can get him here.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting. You know, obviously, we probably won't hear much until after the Super Bowl, but I'm excited. He's definitely going somewhere, and I love the quarterback shakeup. We're going to go.
Man, it shakes things up.
The quarterback free agency, like last year, was awesome. Shakeup was awesome, and I think we're going to have another shakeup this year. So it's exciting, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds and talk about it in the coming weeks. All right, so moving on, we're going to get into Daily Football's probably favorite segment of the show. It's one that we brought up last week, and we're bringing it back again. It is Tap, Nap, or Snap with Danny Football. Go ahead, Danny.
John, play whatever cool audio or funny audio you have. All right, so 2 minutes for roughing.
I don't think I have anything.
You mean from the one time we did this? We have some fun audio.
Anything?
We got nothing. This
we'll see what plays.
He's got it. He's got it. Finish. Trig. It's all over.
Yeah, we can find something fun. But go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, what's this? Oh, I thought something happened to.
Anyway, your 2 minutes is still ticking. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Are we timing
You're running
this?
Out of 2 minutes.
If we're timing this isn't going to happen.
Okay.
Conor McGregor lost to Dustin Poirier by TKO in round 2 at UFC 250. What was it? 257? 257 on Saturday night. Rough outing for my man Conor McGregor. I like to always make it an event when he fights. Try to get as many people over as I can. Clearly, COVID stopped that, but. Long layoff. He had only fought 48 seconds in the octagon since October of 2018. That's when he lost to Khabib. So fought last January against Cowboy Cerrone, beat him really fast. Was supposed to have a couple fights in 2020, but obviously COVID came in, messed that up for him. Couldn't have as many fights as he wanted. And I mean, coming in against Dustin Poirier was going to be a tall task. Poirier's a former interim champion, and it really just came down to who was the fresher fighter, and that was Dustin. He came out with the leg kicks, really started chopping at Conor's lead leg. Couldn't produce any power, and that's what did him in. He hit one more leg kick. Conor couldn't move, teed off on him, and that was it for Conor in round 2. So coming out of this, I think it's going to be Poirier gets a title shot. Khabib said he's retired. He's not coming back. So it should be a Poirier title shot against maybe a Michael Chandler, who also impressed on the card. And for McGregor, who I thought was going to retire again as soon as the fight was over, said he wants to come back, and I think it should be Tony Ferguson or Rafael Dos Anjos. I think he needs a lower tier guy before he starts getting into these main events again. But
or Jake Paul.
Or Jake Paul. If he wants to mess up Jake Paul, he can. But I would rather he stay in the UFC and stay busy because the last time he left for Mayweather, that didn't work out too well either. But
Yeah, I feel like since he's left for Mayweather, that's kind of like started the decline of.
yeah, he had a lot of momentum heading into that. Well, I shouldn't say that. He was coming off of beating Eddie Alvarez for his second belt. He had both belts. And yeah, like you said, he left to go do the boxing thing, lost the boxing match, came back, fought Habib, lost to Habib, and then he was out for a full calendar year.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of momentum, and he just decided to chase the money with the Mayweather fight.
I mean,
He made a lot of money, but man,
it's hard to say. Like he makes his ton money.
That's a long time out of the octagon, man. Compared to what he used to fight at, he used to fight 4 times a year. And now, I mean, he's fighting once in every 2 years. So see where he goes from here. But it was a rough night for my guy.
Now, a couple years ago, he beat Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, he beat Dustin Poirier. I think it was back in 2016.
So is there going to be a
that's
rubber
the
match?
That's the fight McGregor wants. He wants to do the rubber match. I would like him to take a fight in between. Just because I don't see the point in going back into a training camp just to fight the same guy again. So I'd like to see him at least fight a guy in between. Maybe Dustin wins the belt, and then that kind of gives McGregor a chance to beat someone, say, hey, it's 1-1, let's do this for the belt, and then, Dana White can make more money.
Yeah, that would make sense. I think that's I'd love to see him fight, like have the rubber match again, but I think you're right. I think he needs a layoff, like in the middle.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get some more live rounds, get some more live bullets, and then try it again.
Yeah, well,
because he was successful through the first round, but I mean, he just wasn't doing anything about the leg kicks, and he just got destroyed.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I'm rooting for him, and we'll have to. Let's see. It's like, as I said, it's kind of like Rocky 3.
Here we go. You got to you got to pick yourself back up.
Clubber Lang, beat Rocky. He wasn't ready. Second round, same thing. Then Rocky went and trained with Apollo Creed and beat Clubber Lang next fight. So
you got to pick yourself back up off the mat, baby.
He's got to find the eye of the tiger, as they say.
Yeah.
I can make Rocky references the entire podcast.
I think his Apollo Creed would be Nate Diaz. So maybe if he starts training with Nate Diaz, he'll be okay.
What? Nate Diaz trains him?
No, I'm saying that would be his Apollo Creed.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you're saying Nate Diaz comes out. Or did he beat Nate Diaz?
The second time, yes.
Yeah. So that would be unreal.
We're just writing our own Rocky film at this point.
Or Hadid. That would be kind of
Habib. If Habib ever trained him, that would be effing insane.
That'd be well. That's the same thing. Apollo Creed was the champion of the world, and then he started.
They had a blood feud. These two had a blood feud.
So did Rocky and Apollo.
Conor McGregor threw a freaking what the hell was it? It was like a forklift type, like a hand forklift. He tossed one of those through a freaking bus window trying to get a Habib.
That'd be insane. I'd like to see that.
That was during Conor's darker days. He was not in a good place during that time.
Rooting for him. Hope he comes back, and I really want to see that rubber match.
See what we get.
Moving on, we're going into a little Celtics talk. I like to call this Celtics talk.
Protect the parquet.
Protect the parquet. I like it. Oh, name guy right here. Celtics are kind of in this. I think they're in a good spot. JT comes back tonight, playing as we speak. We got Kemba back.
Yep, working his way back.
We had a little issues with the COVID skid. We lost a lot of guys. Were out with COVID. Obviously, Jason Tatum was out. Kemba's been out.
Really killed our momentum, man.
It killed the momentum. We lost 3 or 4 in a row.
We had a 4-game winning streak. Then the COVID hit. We beat the Magic, and then we go on a little skid against the Knicks and 76ers.
But I think we're okay. Like, I really think that, with JT coming back, Jaylen Brown proved he can carry the load.
Mm-hmm.
We got Kemba there. One that kind of hurts is that our guy P. Rabbit was playing out of his mind, and
he's
sidelined for that was a scary play. I was watching that game.
Next man up, though.
Next man up. and I'm still waiting on that trade exception trade piece. So we'll have to see when that happens. It's got to be use it or lose it, as they say. So hopefully they get that. The thing that I was noticing is, Kyrie finally came back. And what happens? They drop 2 to the Nets that looked unstoppable with Katie and Harden. Drop 2. That's right. 2 against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Count them 2.
And the Celtics just beat. Colin Sexton's legit.
Colin Sexton may be the kryptonite for this Nets team, man. That dude balls.
He is legit. Like, he is unbelievable. That was a Brooklyn pick, by the way. All the Brooklyn picks seem to pan out.
Not for the Nets themselves.
Not for the Nets themselves, but they did pan out. As you think about that, like looking back, this wasn't part of it, but you had, of those Brooklyn picks, you had Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Colin Sexton. Was Zizic there too, or was it just Colin Sexton? But like those guys were all in that trade.
And now
that's unreal.
And now the Nets are doing it all over again with this latest Harden pick, man.
They'll never lose. They never learned their lesson. I mean, they went 4 years without a draft pick. I guess you had to try to do something with no. First rounder. But
that being said, Kyrie is going to turn this into an absolute shit show, man. And I think we can beat these guys straight up in 7 games.
I think we can too. We just beat the Cavs. We're going to get one more piece, which they annihilated the Nets. We're going to get another piece. Hopefully, and Aaron Gordon, Vujicic.
Aaron Gordon changes everything, I think.
I even like Nikola Vujicic. I don't know if you can get him for the trade exception, but I'd take him if we can get him. Because he's like a legit shooting center. Like, he can shoot too, which solves a lot of problems, and he's going to get a double-double a night. But either of the bigs, the guy I really want is Jared Allen. Like, Jared Allen, I would love to get, but I like
Jared Allen.
I would love to get him. He's kind of low money too. He's like early in his rookie deal. He's still in his rookie deal, I think. It's like $2 million, something like that, $3 million. But I'm still waiting on the piece. We're gonna get someone else, and we're gonna take down the Nets. I think I still believe in the Celtics team. All those naysayers out there, I still believe in the Celtics team, and we will win the NBA Finals either this year or next year. That's pretty much it. It's still, it's a long season.
No, you said it best, man. This team, when healthy and all of their guys playing at 100%, is one of the best teams in the league. And if we can just tread water while all this stuff is going on with COVID and injuries, get into the playoffs healthy, there's no one I would rather ride with than Brad Stevens and these Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Banner excited. 18, baby. Banner 18.
Get it ready.
Let's go. Gas up the duck boats.
I'd also love to not look at the Banner 18 Celtics jerseys again anymore. So
I'm going to wear it next week now.
If we can win one real quick so we never have to see those jerseys.
Now, see, what if we do win it in those jerseys? Then they're never leaving.
Yeah, I'd be
then those are the jerseys forever.
I'd be so depressed.
You can't turn back at that point. If the Banner jerseys get you Banner 18, those are in the lineup forever.
I hope not. I really hope not. Moving on. I don't want to talk.
We're gonna move up the street a little bit.
Move up the street to a little place called Fenway Park. We got the Red Sox, as I like to call them, the most interesting team.
No, dude,
most interested team.
We're getting moves done now. We're not just interested anymore. We're all the way in.
Day football, you don't say. Who did they get this week?
They picked
Go through the free agencies.
Let me get you.
I'll give you one. Kiki. I love the Kiki signing.
Kiki Hernandez was a good signing. There's the second base position now that PD's looking like he's on the way out.
And also, from our former Red Sox, not closer, but bullpen arm and hero, Joe Kelly, says that Kiki Hernandez is a more athletic Brock Holt.
Oh.
So
Brock Holt was an all-star, dude.
Yeah.
Brock Holt, the only Red Sox to hit for the cycle in the postseason.
I love it. And he's also Kiki's also is like a utility guy. He's played all the positions. Has even logged an inning and pitched.
There we go. Hey.
So I love it. I think he's gonna hold down the second base position, which is gonna be nice. But he's also a utility guy that can play around the infield and the outfield. So I'm excited. He's got a nice little bat to him too. Let's talk about this starting arm that they got.
Speaking of pitchers, we got this is from my friend Kevin Curley. He texted me this earlier today. He said Red Sox just got a reliever, and we got Adam Ottavino from the Yankees. And when I asked my friend Kevin for a breakdown, he said, "Filthy," in all caps, "filthy breaking stuff." Was the Yankees' eighth inning guy. Not going to throw hard, but look up his highlights. Absolutely disgusting slider. Big Red, you watched the highlights. Can you attest?
It is nasty. Like, he has some nasty stuff. And I think that I said I wanted a bullpen arm, just someone to go in the bullpen. I think this guy is going to be
no
perfect.
Further than Adam Ottavino.
I think he's going to be a great eighth. I think that's about where I'd put him too, the eighth inning, seventh, eighth inning. He's going to strike out a lot of guys. I love it.
This is big, dude. A Yankee coming over to our side? This is big.
It's unheard of. Unheard of. But I already like him. So, but also looking at the starter.
Right.
We signed a starter. How do you feel about the new arm coming over, Danny Football?
Can we get his name? I forgot his name.
That's not a good sign. I don't know his name either. Garrett Richards.
Garrett Richards?
Yeah. Who?
Oh. The guy that we signed instead of Kluber. I got you.
Yeah. The stash. I call him the stash.
I mean, a questionable pickup. A pickup nonetheless.
1 year, $10 million, Danny Football.
Listen,
we gave this guy that has 35 games in the last 4 years a $10 million contract, and we didn't want to open the checkbook for a legit starter.
So, I mean, $10 million is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
It's a 1 year deal. I get it, but
right. But
let me just go through the names that are still out there: Trevor Bauer, Tanaka,
Jake Odorizzi,
Porcello. I actually like him. A lot of people don't like him, but Adam Wainwright, I actually really like Adam Wainwright. I think he would be okay. But, like, going through the names, like, there's still guys out there that I would take a chance on. Even Rich Hill. I'd take a chance on Rich Hill. Like, I'm okay with it. I've become more and more okay with it as the signing's gone on.
It's kind of weird that this is the guy that moved first.
Like, there's still, like, a lot of big names out there. Like, the Yankees are getting up there in the cap space because they made this trade. I read a report they made this trade to create room for Brett Gardner, to try to get Brett Gardner resigned.
Wow.
But they still have Tanaka. Like, I'd be fine with signing Tanaka to a deal. Like, I would love to have him as, like, a solid starter. Ricky P, I've made it very clear that I think we should resign him.
All of our reunion guys just aren't coming back.
It's very unlikely. Like, I've come to the conclusion once they're gone, they're gone. Like, I don't think they're coming back. So I'd still love to see Ricky P, because he just starts every fifth day. I think he's an animal. So former Cy Young.
Solid guy.
So I don't know. I like the signing more and more by the day. Like, I get over it, and I like, at least they're trying to do something with the starting pitching. But we got some suspect arms in that starting five.
The ball is rolling, man. That's all I can say. The ball is rolling. We're at least tossing money around. That's all I can really ask for.
Dude, we're putting our faith in Chris Sale. Ooh, I put my faith in him in a lot of ways, but he hasn't finished a whole season. Eduardo Rodriguez, who knows what his health's like. Nate Eovaldi, who just pitched his first complete year. and he's still banged up
And a short season.
in a short season. We got this guy that didn't even pitch the whole last year. I can't even tell you who else. Oh, what's his name? I actually like the other guy that we signed, Perez, but not as like if he has to be my number 2 starter or number 1 starter.
We have Tanner Houck, ready to go.
I want to see Tanner Houck become our like lockdown closer. I really do. I feel like he's the guy. Like I feel like he's a guy that can come in and shut the door. He just has that. I don't know. I have that feel about him, but I feel like he's going to start games this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we had a full major league rotation, he could be that. But right now, we don't have any arms.
Yeah.
But we're on the way, dude. We're on the way.
As I said before, he reminds me a lot of Andrew Miller. Because Andrew Miller came up through the system as a starter.
Same with Papelbon.
And
How was that one of Papelbon's starts?
What? You were at Papelbon's start?
One of his early starts.
Wow. Yeah, I have that same feeling. Like, and he reminds me more of Miller. But, like, I just like the build of him and, like, how he throws. It also reminds me a lot of Chris Sale, too. So I guess that's a bad.
Chris Sale, World Series championship closer.
That's true. With that said, I mean, we've kind of mentioned some names. What's one trade and one signing you want to see the Sox make?
Signing is definitely Jake Odorizzi. That's who my friend Kevin said he's a good little pickup. Obviously, Trevor Bauer's out there, but I don't know what Trevor Bauer's doing anymore.
Trevor Bauer's a psychopath.
So I'm not going to hold my breath for Trevor Bauer. Trade? I mean, obviously, I would want some arms.
Yeah. I guess what I was meaning when I like framed that question is like, is there someone on the team that you would trade away?
Oh, I trade. Yeesh, we don't really.
Or anyone that you're okay with trading away.
We really don't. I don't want to trade Xander. I don't want to trade Devers. Christian Vasquez. I'd trade him for something.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm a big Vasquez defender.
But see, I'd try to sell on him.
For who? We don't have a starting catcher.
I mean,
I feel like catcher is one of the hardest positions to fill. Next, like shortstop's the hardest, but like a starting catcher that's produces, like that's like the second.
Yeah, that's what I got. What do you got?
I understand. Like I Vasquez also I think is like I think he's played like to his like height. So I guess I can see that. They have to go out and sign someone. My guy that I want them to sign is Roberto Osuna, relief pitcher. Pitched in Houston for a while. I think he's going to be a big, bullpen arm for us. Seeing how we got some sus arms starting, I think like we need to boost the bullpen because obviously we're not signing starters for some reason. And I think we have enough cap to get him. The guy I would trade away, I think we could trade him to create some room on the 40-man, and as well as I think he has some trade value, is Michael Chavis. I think I love Michael Chavis, and I think he's a stud, but he's also young. And we just signed Kiki, and we got a bunch of guys in the infield. We're calling up Bobby Dahlback. He's probably going to be the starting first baseman. Devers is at third. Kiki's probably at second. Xander's at shortstop. So it kind of leaves Chavis as like that.
There's just not a spot for him.
I think like Chavis is going to play first, but I think they're going the Bobby D route, which I'm very happy about. But I think they could try to get something for Chavis, maybe a starter, maybe some prospects, like starting prospects, some arms. I don't know. But
you could definitely get a prospect out of him, I think.
Yeah, I think you could get a couple, like a high prospect and maybe like another prospect that's like a risk. But yeah, I think that's a good trade. Like you said, like Xander and Devers should be on a no way Jose trade list. And I even kind of like I put it in tiers. Like those guys I would never touch, and like I would hang up the phone on any call that they brought in. And then my next tier that's right below that's like going to be very hard for me to trade is Verdugo and Vasquez. Like I really I believe in Vasquez that much. JD's like right below that too, just because like he's older and like I would listen to. He's still got value, but
It was looking like we were going to trade Benny earlier in the last week for.
Yeah, what happened to Benny trades? It just fell off the map.
I don't know, dude. That fell right off the table.
You can't have him come into training camp.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's kind of like the Mookie deal.
You were openly saying that he's not going to be here next week. He's here.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not Chaim Bloom right now.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, huh? That's an awkward situation there, huh? I don't know. It's weird. And the other thing we were saying is JBJ's still out there. What's going on with him?
Floating around in the ether.
He's a silent but violent free agent pickup. I don't have the Browns to talk about, but he's like a silent free agent. Like I'm surprised he hasn't signed somewhere yet.
A lot of guys haven't signed yet, dude. I don't know if they're all waiting for one person or maybe they're waiting for pitchers and catchers to report, but
yeah, what you were looking that up. When's pitchers and catchers report?
Pitchers and
you don't know at the top of your head, it's fine.
Catchers report 2021 February 15th.
So it's coming up.
It's definitely coming up.
We got actually it's 1, 2, 3 weeks from today.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if everyone's gonna move in 3 weeks. I think spring training's gonna start, and you're gonna still have guys moving around.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. I am surprised some of the guys that like we mentioned haven't been picked up yet, but it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. The little movement we have the last week of the season. With that being said, we are going to get into our final segment of the night. It's a fan favorite. It's the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
Reminder for people's topic, every week you can write in on our Instagram or Twitter at Big Red Zone. Make sure you go follow us. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the like button on this video as well as all other videos. You can write in at people's topic any point during the week, and we'll talk about it. To go over your question, topic, whatever you want us to talk about. So without further ado, producer John, take it away.
I'm gonna start on Twitter at CheddahBob7. Thoughts?
Shut up.
We kind of already talked about it a little bit during the Bucks game, but what are your thoughts on Brady in the beginning of the season versus now?
Night and day. I mean, the dude completely turned it around. One thing I saw was that they really utilized their late bye week to really turn the team around. And a lot of people were wondering if they had had an early season bye week, if they could have avoided all the early season struggles. So I'm wondering if it was just a situation where they needed to just kind of like get everything back together and then go. So I think they struggled early on in the season just because they were kind of putting all the parts back together.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Tom came in late. They had no training camp, no preseason games. Coming in, meeting everyone, learning the system, learning what's going on. It takes time. And, I think one of the biggest differences between the beginning of the season and the end was Bruce Arians finally getting his head out of his behind and saying, this is Tom's team. Remember in the beginning of the season, he was like, we're not signing Antonio Brown. This is my team, not Tom's team. And like
Bruce was flexing on him early in the season.
He was like ripping Tom after week one. Like, I think he finally realized like he needs to chill. Bruce Arians has done 0 in this league. So, I mean, that's not true, but he's not won. And Tom is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. So, I think that switch being made to now just, we're just defending Tom, and Tom's the guy that leads our friend. I let Tom coach, which is something that Bill wouldn't do, which is just so hypocritical.
Yeah, it's
that's
weird.
why I don't like
early in the season. He's like, "This is my team. I'm the man." And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, I don't even coach.
I don't even
Just
I don't even
coaches.
play. I just come here every week, so I
I
think
just
that
show
was
up.
a big
I just show up
difference.
on the sideline.
I collect a paycheck every week and wear a visor and pretend I'm
Literally.
making play calls. So, I think that was a main difference. And I mean, Tom has been known to turn it on at the end of the season. So
True.
From @TheAndyman11, do you put Diggs in the top tier of receivers with D-Hop, Devontae, Julio, etc., or a tier below?
I think after this year, you
Jeez.
have to put him
I think
in
he
there.
needs to be up there.
I mean, he led the league in a bunch of receiving
And he completely
categories.
changed the complexion of the AFC.
When we're my answer is yes, but when we're on this, did you hear that rumor that the Patriots were like given a chance to match? Or
Yeah, and that just makes me feel worse. It feels like
I don't believe it.
it doesn't make me feel good that we could have possibly had Stephon Diggs and just didn't get him and let him go to a AFC East rival.
But do you remember that came out the day before the Tom Brady news came out?
Yes. We were
And
sitting in the parking lot of McDonald's.
That was right after we
Stephon Diggs
recorded.
got signed or traded.
Yeah, me and Danny Football were getting
Some
late
Shamrock
night
Shakes.
some Shamrock Shakes and late night McDonald's after recording the pod. For one of the first times Danny Football made a guest appearance. But I don't believe it. Like, I think timing's everything. I don't believe when, like, you're telling me
You
that
think it's just an extra kick in the pants at the
I
Patriots?
think it's just trying to like make Bill. I think there's a
Make us
reason
look worse.
Yeah, it's just to make us look worse. And it's like, it's amazing that the Patriots have been out for like a month and they're still being brought up.
Well, they need to
going
keep
into
tearing
Super
us
Bowl.
down, dude. We've been on top for so long. They're going to take their time to tear us down.
I don't buy it one bit. Like, I bet Bill, it's not that I don't buy that the Patriots weren't in on Stephon Diggs. I think it was just like one of the 10 teams that were trying to trade for Stephon Diggs. And like,
We were
the
probably
Patriots-
interested in him.
we're definitely interested in him.
Good question,
And-
AJ, though.
And I also think like I think they realized that they weren't getting Tom. So what's the point of trading for Stephon Diggs without Tom?
True. Very true.
So good question, Andy. I'm glad you didn't rip Ian Book in the process.
Wrong, Andy.
That's
It's
wrong,
AJ
Andy.
It's my boy AJ, bro.
Oh, that's your boy AJ.
My boy
Sorry, AJ.
Old friend AJ.
Andy did rip Ian Book in the comments on our Twitter in a random post.
From the GOAT, Joseph_Celia.
Oh, my week is complete.
With the NBA likely adding 2 expansion teams to the league for COVID relief, which
this
cities do you
question.
feel are most deserving of getting a team?
I'm hoping we're on the
Parentheses-
same wavelength here.
Parentheses, Seattle is likely to be one of those cities.
Well,
and then he gives his personal opinion after, but I'll tell you that after.
So I think you hit the nail on the head. I want
It
Slash
needs to be Seattle.
needs
Has to be
Seattle
Seattle, man.
Supersonics to come back. I was talking about this at work the other day, which is ironic. I was like, we're talking about expansion teams in the NBA. Seattle has to be one. I love the
to be one, man.
Supersonics. And all those people that said the Lakers early titles should count, like the OKC counts the Seattle Supersonics awards. Well, now they won't because Seattle's coming back.
So Seattle needs to get their history back from OKC, much like the Hornets did from New Orleans. But Seattle has done such a good job in the last, I'm trying to think of when they left OKC, but at least the last 10 years with the Seahawks and the 12th man thing. They've done great with the Seahawks. The Mariners, they were showing up in droves for Felix Hernandez games. The Seattle Sounders, they show out and they pack a football stadium for soccer games, man.
Right.
It's crazy. They're going to get an NHL team now.
Yeah.
So Seattle has made such a huge leap in supporting their teams that you need to give them back an NBA team. You have to.
And also, like, it's just like they already have the history there.
It's
Seattle
built in.
has
Right.
to
It's
be
built
one.
in. Right.
The other one, it's like close. Like, I go back and forth.
Really? I'm not even sure who I would go for a second one.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm curious. to see
I'm
what you say.
leaning towards Vegas.
Oh yeah.
That seems. What are you laughing at, producer John? I heard a
I
snicker.
didn't laugh. That wasn't me.
I thought I heard a snicker. Number one, I love gambling, so I think that's what sports betting would be awesome. I think the Vegas Raiders is going to be a hit.
I was gonna say that makes the most sense with a football team and hockey team now.
And add a basketball team in there. Go right in the hockey arena. You don't even have to build a new stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think
the stadium's already there. Shit.
I think it makes a lot of sense, but I'm trying to think of like other places that
It would be sick if they give it to like some New England teams, like the Vermont team
oh my
or a New
God.
Hampshire team.
The Maine Red
Maine.
Claws.
Yeah,
are
the
pretty good.
Red Claws already exist, so we don't need another team up here.
They're pretty good. I think they deserve one. The Connecticut team, the Scranton.
The Scranton.
God. Hartford will never have another pro team after they lost the Whalers, man.
I think
I'm trying
Vermont said they should have one. The Vermont Bernie Sanders is.
Can you imagine Vermont having a professional
It'd be
sports
so
team?
sick.
That would
The
never
Vermont
work.
They'd get
Mountains.
trashed.
It would never work.
The Mountaineers.
That would be such a small
Here's
market.
one. Here's a random one for you.
Hmm?
Vancouver.
Hawaii.
They had the Grizzlies, dude. They could.
They
Yeah, they were the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Alaska.
no.
So
they
it could work with if Vancouver did want to do it, they could just try to get the Grizzly stuff back, and then Memphis can make their own.
have
team.
another Canada team. They're trying to expand it. I
They
mean,
could
it's kind of tough now because Canada. They're not even letting.
Well, there's been a boom with all these Canadian players, so maybe
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Calgary, maybe Montreal.
I like how we're
basketball
just
team.
ignoring.
I'm not gonna let them do this.
To give you this is what Joseph Celia said. To give you my personal opinion, I think besides Seattle, a city like Louisville or St. Louis could be interesting.
Louisville. Wow. Louisville, you know what? That would actually work because they're basketball crazy down there.
Yeah, I don't like
That would be a small market, though.
That would be a very small market. I feel like Vegas makes the most sense.
St.
Like, I
Louis is
feel
a good
like-
one, but they also lost their football team, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I like Vegas. You kind of talked me into Vegas.
Vegas makes sense. I'm trying to think of like another place that we didn't think of. I think like a Canadian team would make sense.
That would work, yeah.
But I think Vegas because you already have a team. You just spent
Maybe
millions of
Kansas
dollars.
City?
No, don't give them any more credit than they did. This is like giving Nick Wright more fuel to the fire. Like that's ridiculous. Don't Casey let them have Patrick Mahomes and then that's good. What do they do? That's a great question. I think it's going to end up being Vegas and Seattle. But great people's topics. I think that was it.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Reminder, we do them every week. You can write in on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone, and we'll talk about it on the show. That is all the time we have for this week. My thanks
North
to
Korea could be a good one.
Oh my God.
thanks
Get
to
us out of
Danny.
here.
My thanks to Danny Football and producer John for joining me this week. Have a great week, everyone.